Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to make a video given the conclusion of the 1968 Year of the Pitcher project. I made an introductory video, part one, in this playlist, just explaining the project, what it is, and all that, and recapping the season up through July, so roughly the first half of the season. And at that time, neither team were basically what the project is I'm rolling out all of Denny McLain's starts in 1968 and Bob Gibson starts in 1968, and using Inside Pitch and Replay Baseball. Those are the two best games in my collection that I feel that really feature pitching. Um, so I'm not saying they're the two best games or anything like that, but for me, I really enjoy how they do pitching. And those two games with Payoff Pitch, but I didn't have the 1968 season in Payoff Pitch. So I used those two game engines, Inside Pitch and Replay Baseball. I used those two engines to roll out Denny McLain's and Bob Gibson's games. Also, just for fun, I hit some of the other teams' games, uh, some of the other pitching highlights because there were a lot of good pitching performances that year. And 1968, I love power pitching, so I always wanted to do a project around that. So I picked that project. I'm sure everybody in here who watches this video is going to know, but McLain was the last 30 win uh, pitcher, and he didn't get close to that in my replay. And Gibson's ERA was really low, and it was a lot of fun, but didn't quite replicate what happened in real life. So I'll just read what I wrote in my notes and then show you a few things on the screen of what happened. So on my completed projects list, I put down that the Year of the Pitcher project, completed it using Replay and Inside Pitch, wrote all of McLain and Gibson's starts. Both pitchers underwhelmed slightly. Both teams majorly underwhelmed as neither team won their league. Baltimore won the AL, San Francisco won the NL, entered stats in PC Replay Baseball. San Francisco won the World Series 4-2 over Baltimore. That actually, and I'll try to remember to show you the box score when I get there. The clinching game went 16 innings, and an error was made. One error in the game was made by Baltimore. It was their shortstop in the bottom of the 16th, and I cannot remember his name, but it cost them the World Series. So it was a walk-off error in the bottom of the 16th inning to lose the World Series for Baltimore. So San Francisco was the winner of the project. But I wanted to see if I can remember how to actually share my screen and share with you just some of the stats and some of the things that went on during the. So let me pull up. Here is 1968. I used PC Replay. I sure hope this is showing on the screen share. But this is, I use PC Replay, and I called it the Year of the Pitcher project. So diving in, we'll just jump, because I don't want this to be too long. We'll jump to the final standings. So you can see Baltimore won the American League. Am I on the last day? I am on the last day. By a game and a half. Cleveland apparently didn't play all 162 games that year. I didn't do anything because the last game wasn't needed. Baltimore won by a game and a half. Detroit missed by 5 games. Over in the National League, San Francisco ran away with it. St. Louis lost by 10 games. And I said this in part one. So if you haven't watched part one, you might want to go and watch that because this is the conclusion of the 1968 Year of the Pitcher project. But this was the first project I ever did where there weren't divisions or wild cards. It was just the ode. And if I'm not mistaken, 1968 was the last year Major League Baseball did it this way. Could be wrong on that. Could be confusing some things, but I'd never done a project before where just the regular season American League winner and the regular season National League winner, there were no league playoffs. They just went straight to the World Series. I didn't think I would like that going into it, but I actually really liked it. As the season progressed, just watching the cream rise to the top and realizing that the two best teams were going to represent their respective leagues in the World Series. And I don't know. It worked. It worked. It was kind of cool. I'd never done that before. I really liked it, and that was kind of cool. So some of the highlights on the season, PC Replay Baseball does this for you. There was a perfect game. Blue Moon Odom had a perfect game on June 1st, 9 innings, striking out five. So that's pretty cool. No hit games. There were four no hitters. I didn't roll any of these out. What I actually did, what PC Replay Baseball will do for you, and and I showed this in part one, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. Digital Diamond also is a really good board game companion. But what I did was I literally rolled out McLean and Gibson's games, entered in the stats as I went as a board game companion, and then I simmed each team's offense and all the other games. Occasionally, I would roll out a whole game here or there. Occasionally, I would roll out the team's offenses here or there. But this was a really fun, cool way to do a project kind of quickly. And what I really cared about was the pitching for 1968. We kind of focus on. So I didn't roll out any of these games, but still showing it. I'm not going to go through any more of that. I wanted to. There are the final standings. Wanted to show you the teams because the two teams that I really focused on were Detroit, and you can see the pitching leaders. Denny McLean finished with 24 wins. He didn't quite get to 30. He led pretty much all of Detroit's categories, 24 wins, 2.4 ERA, 0.97 WHIP, 285 strikeouts. If you go to actually Denny McLean in PC Replay Baseball, it'll show you the total versus the real. Looks like, I don't know. I guess he might have relieved some games in real life, and I just wrote out his starts. So here's his 41 starts, and it went 339 innings, 330 innings, 331. With his ERA was a little inflated. His wins and loss record didn't quite live up. The WHIP was a little inflated. Here is the pitching game log. If you want to look through that, PT Replay Baseball will do that for you. Also, let me show you but you can see Detroit finished with 97 and 65, well behind Baltimore and a little behind Cleveland. Let me show you St. Louis. They finished 87 and 55, 10 games behind San Francisco. Bob Gibson won 18 games, a 1.67 ERA. So I think that actually was pretty close. We'll check on that in a minute. I think it's still a little high. He had a .92 WHIP, 231 strikeouts. So let's compare that to real life. He had only 285 innings. I didn't do as many complete games because his team wasn't winning, so I had to pinch hit for him some. 18 and 9 versus 22 and 9. Yeah, the ERA was still pretty high, and it's hard to believe that a 1.67 ERA is still pretty high, but he had a 1.67 instead of the 1.2. You could dig into the stats a little bit more. I like to look at the strikeout records. He had strikeouts 231 in the replay versus 268 in real life. The Ks per walk were pretty close. I was looking for the Ks per nine. I think that's on here somewhere. I'm not going to go into all of these stats, but there is. If you're really interested, you can pause it and take a look. Let me show. I didn't show you this screen for Denny McLean, so let me go over to Detroit and show you Denny McLain. So here's his summary tab. 10 strikeout games. He had 6. He had a 12 strikeout game, complete game shutout here, complete game shutout, 12 plus strikeout games. Here is that splits for pitching. So you can see the 2.4 ERA versus 1.96, strikeouts 285 versus 280. So that's pretty close there. Again, if you're really interested, you can pause it and take a look. And looking for shutouts, he had 6 shutouts. And last thing I'll look at is in St. Louis. I want to look at Bob Gibson and see how many shutouts he had, because I believe in real life he had an obscene amount of shutouts, and I don't think he got close to that in this replay. So let's check and see how Bob Gibson did on his shutout. So there's a summary. Shutout. Actually, he did get pretty close. He had 11 in the replay and 13 in real life. So that's pretty good, especially considering I had to pitch 19 fewer innings because his team wasn't as dominating, when it wasn't as winning as much. So I had to do. He didn't get as many. He had eight fewer complete games. So lost some of those shutout opportunities to that. But that is kind of the final standing. Just a real quick, I also played out the oops, wrong screen. Played out the postseason. So let me switch over to the year of the Pitcher World Series. And you can see that here's the bracket. You can see that San Francisco won that in 6, and I'll show you that final game box score that I was telling you about. You can see it went 16 innings. San Francisco won on a walk-off error. I played some of these games. I simmed some of these games, to be honest, because my real interest was rolling out. And I kind of just lost interest once Bob Gibson and Denny McLain didn't look like they were going to hit their numbers, and it didn't look like either team was going to make the World Series. Kind of lost interest a little bit. But it was still a fun project. And you can see in this play-by-play, if I scroll down to the bottom, that Willie Mays was the batter, and an error was made by a shortstop, and Marshall scored. So it was a walk-off error. It looks like Baltimore had scored one in the top of the 16th, so they probably thought they were going to force a game 7. And then San Francisco, Dave Marshall singled, scoring Bobby Bonds, and then Willie Mays. An error was made on the shortstop for Baltimore. It was their only error of the game. So if we go over to the box score, you can see that was Bellinger. And you can see as a team, they hit 234, whereas San Francisco hit 206. So there you have it. That's kind of a recap of my 1968 year of the pitcher project. So let me see if I can get back to YouTube here. Hopefully this is still working. My 1968 year of the pitcher project, had a lot of fun doing that. Going to add this to my playlist. Might put it out there on Facebook, since I put part 1 out there on Facebook. But that's it. Having a lot of fun. Now my big projects I'm working on are 2001 Inside Pitch, doing my first full season replay. That's an extreme amount of fun, using Digital Diamond Baseball for that and Inside Pitch solely. It's my first full season, every team, every game, full replay. And Chris Davis sent me the file to upload the notes into Digital Diamond Baseball. And that's been a game changer, along with getting those notes in. And then Chris Davis also made an RJL, put it on the Inside Pitch community and in the Delphi forums. Chris Davis puts it out there. The runner advancement chart that I struggled, like a lot of people with Inside Pitch, with the base running. And Inside Pitch Advanced, it's very streamlined on the base running. It's much simpler. And Chris Davis went ahead as an optional chart. He did the base running for regular Inside Pitch in the mode of Inside Pitch Advanced, and I really like it. It's very much more streamlined. Encourage you to go check that out. Don't want this to get too long, so I'm gonna stop the stream there. But I'm doing those projects, and they're a lot of fun. Along with, as always, the 1984 project. So if you watch the stream this far, I want to encourage you to join the 1984 community replay. That is a tremendous amount of fun. As a community, we wrote over 800 games in that. We are in mid-June, rolling out every game. Lots of fun. Check us out in the replay. But with all of that, thanks guys. If you watch this, have a good evening, a good weekend. It is September 26, 2025. Have a good one. Bye.